All right, let's just jump right in. The source material we're looking at today makes a really bold claim right on the cover. Investing in crypto is easy, actually. Now, I know for a lot of you that probably sounds completely backwards, but the whole argument here is that the path is way, way simpler than most people think.
Because let's be real, this is the question that's on everyone's mind, isn't it? Is crypto this golden ticket to wealth, or is it a treacherous sea full of pirates just waiting to take everything you have? You hear these wild stories of overnight millionaires, but then you also hear the horror stories. It feels like you're choosing between finding buried treasure and, walking the plank. And this right here is the main idea we're going to unpack. The source says all the confusion, all that fear and complexity, it's not actually part of crypto itself. It's just noise. All the hype, the scams, the bad advice that's flying around. The real strategy, it argues, is just learning what to tune out.
So to do that, first we've got to identify the dangers. The author paints this picture of the crypto world as a kind of Wild West, and out there in the dust, there are two huge traps just waiting for any newcomer.
And here are the two big ones. It's not just about the tech, it's about your own mindset and your security. On one side, you've got the mindset trap, which is all about chasing what the source calls Dogecoin luck. And on the other side, you've got the platform trap, using these places it very colorfully calls Somali pirate exchanges.
So let's break that first trap down. The appeal of Dogecoin luck? Man, it's strong. It's that dream of turning a few bucks into a fortune just by gambling on a meme or a tweet. But, like it says right here, a lottery ticket isn't an investment strategy.
And this line from the material just hits the nail on the head. Relying on this kind of luck, that's not investing. It's pure gambling. It's all hype, it's all emotion, and it's definitely not a sound plan. And we all know what happens when the music stops. The gamblers are almost always the ones left without a chair. Okay, so that's trap number one. And, it often leads you straight into trap number two. When you're chasing that Dogecoin luck, you tend to end up in some pretty dangerous places. This is the danger of these so-called pirate exchanges, the platforms where your money is anything but safe.
So, what does he actually mean by this Somali pirate exchanges phrase? Well, it's a pretty vivid metaphor, right? It stands for all those unregulated, high-risk platforms that pop up to cash in on the latest hype. They might offer you all these obscure coins and crazy leverage, but they have basically zero security, no customer support, and absolutely no protection for you. Your money can literally vanish overnight, and that's what? There's nobody to call for help. Okay, so we've met the villains of the story, a gambling mindset and these incredibly sketchy platforms. It's a pretty scary picture. So that leads to the obvious question. If that's what we're supposed to avoid, then what on earth are we supposed to do? And this is where we get to the solution. The author lays out a strategy that is the complete opposite of all that chaos we just talked about. It's not about getting rich quick. It's a simple, disciplined path, and it's designed for someone who's in it for the long haul. And here it is, 3 steps. That's the whole thing. First, find a reputable exchange, the direct antidote to those pirate platforms. Second, buy Bitcoin. The author is really specific here, pointing to the original and most established crypto to avoid all that speculative noise. And third, and honestly this might be the hardest part for most people, just hold it for the long term. This slide just lays it out perfectly. It really all comes down to this choice, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the gambler, chasing a whim on a dangerous platform. And on the right, you've got the strategist, patiently building value on a safe, secure foundation. The source is basically asking you, which one of these people do you want to be? But what's the real goal of this whole disciplined strategy? It's not necessarily to get 100 times return in a month. No, the primary goal is something much more defensive and maybe a lot wiser. Moving backwards, what does that even mean? Well, the source says it's losing your starting money on a bad bet or to one of those shady exchanges. It's about realizing that the biggest risk isn't missing out on some moonshot coin. The biggest risk is losing the capital you already have. And that's the whole philosophy in a nutshell. In a market this wild and unpredictable, the very first victory is just surviving. By focusing on keeping your capital safe, by simply not losing, you guarantee you'll be in the game long enough to benefit from any long-term growth. Winning starts by not getting knocked out on day one. Which really just leaves us with this final question to think about. The crypto world is all about speed, right? Explosive gains, the constant pressure to chase the next big thing. In an environment like that, is it possible that the most powerful, most effective strategy is just being patient? This author certainly seems to think so.
What about you?